On this edition of The Correspondents, the death of the world's longest reigning monarch, Thailand's revered king, dead at the age of 88, a stunning blow for the kingdom of 67 million people. Hurricane Matthew has come and gone, but doctors in Haiti warn of deadly health risks, even as flooding continues to threaten coastal cities in the U.S. And more controversy over the scandalous allegations that have upended Donald Trump's campaign, and yet another batch of WikiLeaks emails from the Clinton camp. And welcome to The Correspondents on Voice of America. I'm Mil Arcega in Washington. The world's longest reigning monarch is dead. The King of Thailand, poo-MEE-puhn Adulyadej, died Thursday, according to the Bureau of the Royal Household. The king had been in poor health for some time, spending his last years in a Bangkok hospital. Mourners wept and prayed outside the hospital where the king died. Concerns about the king's deteriorating conditions were heightened on Sunday after the palace issued a health bulletin saying the king's medical team had performed kidney dialysis and had placed the monarch on a ventilator. And to talk about the potential ramifications for Thailand, I'm joined in our studio by someone who spent many years there as bureau chief in Thailand. We have VOA senior diplomatic correspondent Steve Herman, along with the host of VOA's Asia Weekly, Steve Miller. It's good to have both of you gentlemen on the program again. This is a big deal for the country of Thailand. But Steve, you spent quite a bit of time there in Bangkok, so you might have a better sense for the feel of what these Thai people are feeling. This is the only king they've known for probably for most of their lives. What has the reaction been there like? Is there a big sense of loss?
Oh, absolutely. Even though people knew that this day was inevitable because the king had been in very poor health for many years and had spent most of the past years in a hospital. But still, this came as a big shock. The king is revered as a semi-deity. He has, over many decades, been seen as doing a lot for people in the countryside. And there is true grief among the majority of Thais and anxiety about what the future holds.
Even though his role was mostly symbolic, correct?
You can say that the king is, his role is symbolic, that Thailand is supposed to be a democracy, although it's been led more often than not by military juntas. But the king was the unifier. He was the linchpin. Politicians in Thailand are considered weak and corrupt. The military has been a strong force, but it has been the monarchy and specifically the king that has been held in esteem above all else.
Steve Miller, how do you explain the outsized reaction in the economy? We saw the stock market fall at one point as low as 7% right after the announcement that the king was in failing health. How do you explain that?
Well, like Steve said, I mean, you look at the king, he's the unifying. He is, in some respects, the body and soul of Thailand. So no one likes change. So when you have that announcement that the king's health was not stable, it sent investors and those looking at the markets into a state of quandary. So we saw that 6-7% drop. We saw a drop of the baht as well.
Is it stabilizing now?
It has come up. In most regards, the stock market has regained everything it's lost. It's just a little bit shy of that. And the Thai baht has also come up as well.
What is the state, Steve Herman, of Thailand's economy anyway? Is it on shaky ground? Or?
It's been having some issues in recent years. There has not been a tremendous amount of confidence since Prayut Chan-o-cha, the army chief in mid-2014, carried out a bloodless coup. And there are concerns about Thailand keeping up its competitiveness, especially in an era where its neighbors are becoming more dynamic and trying to run this sort of economy for the long term with this uncertainty now hovering over the fate of the monarchy and perhaps democratic elections being some time away amidst a backdrop of politics where it's been very polarized. There's a lot of uncertainty there. And I think that people are not pulling investment out. Major corporations, the Japanese, the Koreans, the Americans, the Chinese, they're not pulling out. But I think there's a great hesitancy to put more major investment into Thailand right now.
So, Steve Miller, what happens next? I assume there will be a period of mourning before the successor is announced, or do we already know?
Well, the Crown Prince was set aside as the successor several years ago. But he has announced through the Prime Minister that he needs more time to mourn. That's what the Prime Minister said recently.
And this was a big surprise.
And this was a big surprise because normally, as soon as the king dies, the government then asks the Crown Prince to assume the role of the king, and that hasn't happened this time. So there is some uncertainty there. There is a period of 1 year of mourning, a more intense period of 30 days. But if you look across Asia, many cultures have this extended long period of mourning as well.
Why is the Crown Prince such a controversial figure today in Thailand?
His life and lifestyle is seen as quite in contrast to his father. As I mentioned, King Bhumibol was quite revered, seen as much as a royal can be, a man of the people. He'd be out there in the countryside in his boots with his camera strapped around his neck, his ham radio on his belt, and he really connected with the people over many decades. The Crown Prince has been much more of a remote figure. There's been controversy in his personal life. He's on his fourth wife. And he spends a lot of time in Germany rather than Thailand. But to speak about this openly in Thailand is taboo.
They have laws against that.
Very strict defamation laws, and any complaint that is made must be investigated, and there will not be open discussion about this in
Steve
Thailand.
Miller, do you think that's the reason why there is some instability right now? Because the Crown Prince is not quite as well respected as the king, who as Steve Herman told us, was involved in many kinds of activities and projects with the common people.
Well, those looking at the business side of things look at what's currently taking place there. And as we've seen with the markets and the Thai currency that has come up, they don't really foresee a lot of change. They perhaps are wondering why there is this delay of the Crown Prince not taking on the role of the monarch, but they don't really show any concerns at this moment.
We also have to be concerned about what happens with the crown properties, and there are a lot of leases that the royal household has put out. These properties and the assets are worth tens of billions of dollars. And how will the Crown Prince dole out favors, and how will the Privy Council be composed? So there'll be a tremendous trickle-down effect. And when we say trickle-down, we're talking about the elites in Thailand.
There's a lot of money involved. And Steve, as you know, Thailand's civilian government was ousted by military rule. Do we anticipate or expect any kind of political implications as a result of the king's death?
Well, the Prime Minister was hoping to have an election in 2017 after the Constitution.
What happens to that election?
Well, some speculation is that it may be pushed off to 2018. We don't know at this point.
Well, we look forward to further reporting on this issue and possible potential implications to the economy and to the people of Thailand. Thank you so much to both of you gentlemen. Our sincerest condolences to the people of Thailand, and of course thanks to our senior diplomatic correspondent Steve Herman and Steve Miller, host of VOA's Asia Weekly. Now, still ahead, the aftermath of Hurricane Matthew in Haiti and its impact here in the United States. This is The Correspondents on the Voice of America.